back to Cooking with Shockey. Today, we are going to be doing my world famous Mississippi mud ribs with my sweet barbecue rub, link in the description below for this homemade rub. Our pit's coming up to temperature. We're going to be cooking on the Old Country Brazos DLX today, and we're going to get these ribs on. Now, these are backyard ribs. We're not going to remove the membrane. A lot of people do. You can totally do it if you want, and if you're in a competition, you better remove the membrane. But for me, on the backyard, it really doesn't make much of a difference. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take my chef's knife and I'm just going to score the backside of these ribs, score that membrane. That way it'll break up a little easier, be more pliable, but you really can't tell the difference. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to score these ribs. Just the tip of the knife on the membrane on the back, little cross pattern usually does the trick. And that will allow us to have that membrane nice and pliable for us so it's not too crunchy or bulky on the bottom. Now, when we go through and we take care of these ribs, I almost forgot to put my gloves on. Oh well, I guess I'll wash my hands, right? So backside scored. When I look at ribs, like these little ends here, these little end bones, it's not a full bone there and it's super thin. We're gonna go ahead and remove that last bone on the edge to give us a nice even corner, right? And then if you have any flaps or anything that's sticking off the back of these ribs, you can see that there. We'll take care of those as well. So I'm gonna go ahead and get these ribs trimmed up, get them nice and square, and then we'll be right back with you. Okay, now that we have our ribs completely trimmed up, the membrane is scored on the back, nice even rack, right? Cut off, squared at the bottom. Now we're gonna go ahead and season them up. So I got my homegrown sweet barbecue rub here. We're just gonna do a nice liberal coating front and back. Okay, now that these ribs are seasoned up, we're gonna go ahead and let them sweat out on the cutting board while our fire comes up to temperature on our Brazos pit, and then we'll be right back with you to get these ribs on the smoker. Okay, now that we've got our ribs nice and sweated out, the rub is kind of seasoned in there. Our pit's up to temperature. We're going to be cooking at 275 today with hickory and post oak. So we'll go ahead and get these on the smoker. Laying them out just like that today. Remember, they cook like you set them, so bunch those ribs up the way you like them. Number 3 is a big one. There we go. Just make sure they're not touching. And that looks good. Maintain temperatures at 275. All right, we're still cooking around 275. Let's take a look. It's been about an hour and a half on these ribs. Nice color right there. Really happy with that. Rub has set. Still a long ways off from done, but they got good color. We'll give them a quick spritz just to keep them nice and moist, keep anything from burning. Especially those edges there. And that leading edge that's pointed towards our firebox, and we should be good to go. We'll check back in on these in about another hour. All right, it's been about 3 hours. We're still holding a little north of 275 at the moment. There's the color I'm looking for. Beautiful color, mahogany all the way around. The fat is starting to split on the top, so there's a fat seam that goes actually right through there. You can see it there, you can see it on that one. These loin back ribs, right around that loin on the top, you can see that fat split. Beautiful, beautiful color. We'll get the edges here, a little bit on that chrome on the top. There's my ThermoPro. All the way around. We're getting a great mahogany color. I love the color on these ribs. They look pretty. All right, I'm probably gonna take them to about 4 hours. It's been 3 now, so we put them on at 1250. It's 350 right now. They got a great color, great bark forming. I want them a little bit darker. We'll render some more of that fat before we go ahead and wrap them. We're gonna wrap them in foil. And these are Mississippi mud ribs. So we're gonna have butter, we're gonna have brown sugar, we're gonna have honey in that wrap, and a little bit more rub. But this is looking great. We'll be back with you about the 4-hour mark. All right, here we are at the 4-hour mark. Voila. All right, great color. Not burning anywhere. Fat's rendered nicely. See that seam there. Really pretty color. Yep, these are ready to go into the wrap for these Mississippi mud ribs. All right, so here we go. We're gonna go ahead and wrap these ribs. So as you can see here, we got them off the smoker. The first thing that we're gonna do is we're gonna get some light brown sugar down in the middle. We'll go ahead and spread that out. Nice and easy there. 3 pats of butter per rack. Right down there in the middle for some nice unsalted fat. That is unsalted butter that we have there. And then we're going to come back for some honey for the money. Nice bead of honey down in the center. Some brown sugar, butter, honey. Then what we're going to do is we're going to take our rack, and this is the secret rep in here. It's Holy Voodoo by Meat Church. So we're going to give that a good pop of flavor on the top side. We're going to put that meat side down, right on our wrap, come back on the back side. Another dusting of Holy Voodoo from Meat Church right there. Double wrapped in foil. One. And 2. Get those wrapped up nice and tight. And these are going to go on our pellet grill to finish. We don't need any more smoke flavor on this. We already did it on the offset. So we're going to have all 3 racks on the pellet grill to finish off until we're nice and probe tender. Then we're going to pull them off, give them a good sauce, and we'll be back with you in a bit. All right, it's been about an hour in the wrap. Ooh, that one peeled up on me. Let's take a look here. Try to see if we can. Oh yeah, good bone pullback. See the bones pulled out just nicely there. Liquid's bubbling. Let's get a good temperature read on this. Those are way done. So these are going to be fall off the bone here, gentlemen. All right, we're going to get these off. We're going to sauce them, let that sauce tack up, and then we'll be back with you. Okay, now that we've got these ribs off the smoker, we're going to go ahead and open these up, show you what they look like here. I have a fat separator that is critical to this step, but these ribs look fantastic. Good bone pull back on the back. See the bone pull back there, right? Great mahogany color. Now what I'm going to do, now you remember what we put in this wrap, right? It's butter, brown sugar, honey, a little of our rub. So we're actually going to siphon this off into our fat separator, and that's actually what we're going to glaze these ribs with. These are Mississippi mud ribs. So this is the critical step for this Mississippi mud sauce that we're going to put on these ribs. So remember, we got 3 racks that we're working with here. What we're going to do is we're going to add some of our Sweet Baby Ray's barbecue sauce to these drippings here. It's going to give us a nice thick, what I call Mississippi mud sauce. So we'll incorporate that into here. It's going to thin it out nice because this sauce is boiling hot. So what we're going to do, mix that up to nice and good there. I got my silicone brush, and we're just going to sauce these ribs just like this. So right over the top, nice and liberal with it. Just so they got a nice good sheen to them. and they look nice and pretty just like that. Now, we got 2 more slabs to do, but the last finishing touch here, again, back with that Holy Voodoo from Meat Church. Right over the top, give it a nice flavor pop. Perfect. We're going to go back on the smoker just like that so that sauce can tack up. All right, let's get a look at the final product here. 1, 2, 3. There they are. Beautiful colors, sauce is tacked up. Awesome backyard barbecue ribs. That Mississippi mud. Great bone pullback. Let's get to slicing these up. I'm hungry. All right, here we are. We are done. These ribs are ready to go. They look beautiful. Nice and glazed with the Mississippi mud sauce. That Holy Voodoo on the outside. Remember, we started off with that sweet barbecue rub. Homemade rub. Link in the description below for that. We're just going to cut into these real quick and get a good look at how we did. Right from the middle. Beautiful smoke ring. Nice and juicy. And it's just dripping. We got our Mississippi mud sauce here. Now it's in that fat separator, so that fat's going to rise to the top. So what I'm going to do is actually pick this up. I'm going to squeeze that trigger, and we'll go all over the top with that sauce. But perfect bite through. Those are good. You got to try this recipe. Mississippi mud, smoked baby back ribs. We'll see you next time.